Alright guys, Man City have just obliterated Copenhagen by 5 goals to 0. And I think it's the result you expect really, 5-0 home win for City against the weakest team in their group. Although Sevilla aren't looking too good at the moment, but I think it's safe to say Copenhagen are, coming from a weaker league in Europe, the Danish league. They're the only team in this group who aren't in one of the big five leagues. And yeah, City just dominated from the very first minute. Erling Haaland got the opening goal. It was a really well taken goal. It was clever movement from Julian Alvarez, I think, to sort of pull the defender out of the way for Haaland to get the shot off with his right foot, to make the room for him. And it was a well taken shot as well. Got the power behind it, plenty of precision as well. And yeah, it just continued from there. Haaland got his second of the game. This time it was a tap-in, but a brilliant strike to cause the it wasn't really a spillage, but to cause the rebound for Haaland from Sergio Gomez. Brilliant strike. And he showed on a couple of occasions, Gomez, that his technique on the volley is absolutely superb. It's like similar technique to what João Cancelo has, so it just looks like another player that City have signed who just has phenomenal ability and technique when it comes to striking a ball or picking a pass out, which, I mean, Man City fans will be very happy to see. Not me, as a Liverpool fan. But yeah, I think the only thing that was keeping the score line down in the first half was Kamil Grabara, because he had a superb game in goal for Copenhagen, just making save after save. He was obviously on Liverpool's books a few years ago. He never made an appearance, but he was about fourth choice keeper. I think he got in on the bench for a Carabao Cup game once, but yeah, never played a game for Liverpool. And also had a big blue mask on because he suffered a facial fracture over the summer, which, I mean, could you not pick any other colour than blue? Because like white, it would look normal, black would look normal. Like even yellow or red would look alright, but something like blue or green, it just makes him look like some sort of Captain America sort of character, which was a bit obscene really. But yeah, he definitely helped to keep them in the game in the first half. And just before half time, Sergio Gomez was causing problems on the left hand side for Copenhagen. Had a shot and it took a ricochet and eventually came off Kochelev, I think his name is. And yeah, not really a whole lot he could really do about it, to be honest. It came at him very, very quickly. And yeah, that was it really. 3-0 at half time. It would take something absolutely extraordinary for Copenhagen to come back from that, if we're being completely honest. And yeah, Pep subbed Haaland off at half time. I mean, the job was done, so absolutely no need for him to play the second half when the games are coming thick and fast, like this. Something like a record amount of games for teams this month, because of the fact, obviously the Queen's death is tragic, but it's not been good for the football season either, condensing the games even more than they already are. So yeah, that's partly the reason why, and I think it's probably a good job that there is 5 subs now. I think even it's got to the point where it probably even benefits the smaller teams as well as the bigger teams. So yeah, Klopp's complaining's probably benefited everyone for once. But yeah, it was pretty much more of the same after half time. City brought on a few youngsters. Cole Palmer is a player who I rate very highly. They also brought on Wilson Ebrand at left back, and also I'll think of his name in a second. It's going to come. Oh, I can't think of his name now, right back. I should know this. It'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, they made a few substitutions, brought in young players, and obviously, you know, this is the time to give youngsters a chance when there's no pressure on them, and they get to test themselves. So against still what is a decent side, it's going to be better than a lot of the teams they've come up with in their career, like in youth levels so far. And yeah, City got a fourth and fifth through Riyad Mahrez penalty. It wasn't the smartest defending ever by Stamenic, bringing Laporte down, I think it was, when he really didn't need to. Mahrez tucked it away, and Julian Alvarez got the fifth. And Julian Alvarez's goal was absolutely superb, and it is everything that you want to see from Jack Grealish. Picking up the ball at the halfway line, driving at the Copenhagen defence. Because what often happens with Grealish is he almost picks the ball up almost too close to the box sometimes, and he can't get the momentum going. And he's not the quickest player ever, Grealish. He hasn't got that Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané pace that City once had on that left-hand side to just, you know, blaze past a player. Grealish has to have momentum going, and then he has to chop and change with quick changes of direction. And this is why recently in this new role that Guardiola's given him, I think he's benefiting more, because he can pick up the ball deeper and then get his momentum and then drive past players. He played it out wide to, I've got a feeling it was Mahrez, who squared it to Alvarez, and Alvarez had a fairly simple finish, but not one that he would score 100 times out of 100, to say the least. And yeah, and that capped off a really good performance for City. Don't get me wrong, it's like beating Copenhagen when you're the champions of England isn't really an achievement, but it's still, you know, a very good result. And yeah, there's not really a lot more to say to that, other than like you could just tell by the quality of Copenhagen that that there was times in like even in the second half where you'd see players on the far side who were, you know, trying to stay in line with the Man City defence, and this was on the rare occasions when Copenhagen actually had the ball. And they'd never be onside, they'd always be 2 or 3 yards offside, but still calling for the ball. And it's just like, oh Jesus, it's worrying when even like, you know, you can notice the problems with a player's game when it's something as simple as staying onside. And like, if like you don't get annoyed when they're just offside and they're calling for the ball, but they're calling for the ball and they're way behind the Man City back line. So yeah, it must be a bit infuriating for the Copenhagen fans at times. Rico Lewis was the player I'd forgotten about, it just came into my head. Rico Lewis and Wilson Ebrand made their Champions League debuts, and Cole Palmer obviously came on, and he played well when he came on as well. He's had a bit of experience before in the Champions League now, I think over the past season or two. But yeah, the player I really rate highly, Cole Palmer, and I think if he can get chances in this City team, he will do well for them. It may be a case of he needs a loan move just to get some game time, but I think he will be a very, 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 very good player. But anyway, City demolished Copenhagen. It's what you expect. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.